Hello, my name is Mark Still, and I decided to do my Japanese culture project on Gunpla. Now, Gunpla first comes from Gundam, an old 1979 TV series with 49 episodes that came out to a massive success. And that success was attributed to its revolution of the genre. From previous kids shows of giant, disproportionate, kind of human-looking robots to a more military and dark kind of setting where they really go into differences between right, wrong, black and white, and the impacts, psychological impacts that have on the pilots who have to take part in the war, mainly young men. Now, it really did take a life of its own apart from just being a TV show. So after tens of movies and series being made, this was created in the Gundam factory in Yokohama, a movable life-size Gundam. Now, while no price has been quoted, this is definitely in the millions, if not tens of millions, to construct. Now, while it does look a bit slow, I can imagine it's only like that because of safety concerns. Japan gets hit a lot by seismic activity, so having this topple over into a crowd is probably not their first priority. Now, when you spend this much money, this much time on a giant tourist attraction or symbol, it really goes beyond just being a simple TV show. It's become a icon of Japan at this point. Now, Gundam plus plastic equals Gunpla. That's where the name comes from. So, because every toy is a worldwide success, you have kits. These kits are plastic parts that are put together to create a figure. This is the Gundam factory where the molds are made. These are the molds, 1 ton to 700-ton molds that cost thousands to fully make. Here's inside of a mold, where the plastic is shot in and molded into shapes. Now, the history of Gunpla started with some really dinky, simple-looking, few-piece kits to now $20 fully articulate with armor plating, weapons, different, more variety-colored plastics, and decals, to even more detailed, larger kits with fully internal vents and sometimes even metallic parts, to full-on metal kits. Now, each of these are divided into separate grades, each with their own according prices, metals being the most expensive. So my first encounter with Gundam was, well, I watched the series in high school. Now, I've always been a fan of Power Rangers. I've always been a fan of these like well, just robots in general. And it was a time I was walking down Barnes& Noble that I found a kit for $12 of the flagship model of the most recent series, Iron Blooded Orphans. And I bought it then and there. It's my first kit I ever built. Now, my aspirations are to build a Strike Freedom metal build, which cheapest goes for 400. It's a beautiful metal kit, but until I find some more confidence in myself, I'm not going to touch, I'm not even going to think of buying the kit till then. So this is my work. My top right is my oldest, my first one I ever made. Top left is my most recent. So, well, really not much has changed. I was able to hide a lot of the seam lines. I was able to get a nice, more or less cohesive feel to it, compared to the Barbados, the top left, my first one, which is kind of weird, kind of loose. And then to the bottom, which is the one I want to make. It's a third-party custom build that's not produced by Bandai, so it's a bit wonky, because it's not really a perfect kit. Now, my goal is to really change, well, not really change the color, but give it some better colors over it instead of having just a base plastic. Now, some people are able to take this $20 kit, turn it into this different black variant. Some are going to take a $150 kit, into a beautiful red chrome with titanium parts, or a electric blue with titanium parts, or even just a simple white with gold embroidery, almost like vines all across the top and inside, or dioramas. Some people put more emphasis on the terrain and the area around it to make a more centerpiece feel instead of the kit itself. These are the tools of my trade. Now I have a lot of stuff, but really all you need is a knife, a pair of cutters, and sandpaper, because a lot of these kits don't even need glue anymore. And this is me to the right with my apron and my mask. So this is the kit. This is a simple $5 kit you can buy. So you have the sprues, get rid of that. You have the box with the color guide. You open it up even further and you have instructions. Just 1.5 page of instructions. One of the simplest kits I've ever seen, one of the fewest pieces I've ever seen. This is mine, the one I'm going with. So you can see the very stark difference between the amount. Now cutting them out, versus to cut them out off of the sprues, you then have to take it and sand it down because a lot of the plastic comes in from imperfections. Bonding, you can skip this step if you don't have glue, but it helps hide a lot of the cracks that are formed because they have to split parts into different pieces to be casted right. Organizing, if you're not building it then and there, because I'm painting it, I have to separate them so I know which part is which, so I can paint them a lot easier. This is a mistake I made a while ago where I painted it wrong and I had to go back with Q-tips and clean it piece by piece. Priming is a heavy coat that goes on top that allows easier painting of nicer, finer, glossier colors on top. These are the hours of paint tests that I did to find what kinds of reds and chromes and different colors I really wanted for the kit. This is my full paint setup, the different colors I achieved, the steps I took to achieve them. The sub-assembly, so these are all the pieces here. And this is here me building it piece by piece into separate sections. So chest, head. Then panel liner decals. Decals are the really fancy transparent stickers. And the panel liner is this black ink that goes into all the cracks and recesses of the red armor, so they pop a lot more. So if you look at the right picture between the left leg and the right leg, the left has a lot more definition because I filled in those lines with the black panel liner. I'll show off. After putting all the decals in the panel liner, I can easily just pop all the pieces together and I have my full kit. Now, pardon all the bad pictures, my Google Pixel is really bad at taking some fine close-up detail. It's good from far away, but it's really bad close-up, and I'm really debating getting a camera. Kit, so up top, on the top right, you have the kit in the bare plastic, no stickers, no decal, no panel liners. This is just the bare plastic. So this is what you can easily achieve at home with a knife, a pair of nippers, and some sandpaper. The bottom is what I was able to achieve with a lot more time. Now, if you look at it in person, you will see defects. You'll see parts where I could have done it a bit better, parts that scratched because putting them together rubbed them the wrong way. But overall, I'm happy with the kit. It was a good first attempt. It's a good bar that I set for myself to improve on. And I said, while it's not perfect, I'm satisfied with it. Now, as you got a taste of the hobby, the worldwide success of this was amazing. Between magazines, tutorials, videos coming out of how to be better, between the business viability of making companies to provide paints or tools specifically for Gunplas, some of these tools were such in hot demand, they were never able to be exported or sold outside of their countries just because the demand was too great. Some paints or some tools before were region locked to their countries for a few years before they even came to the U.S. in limited quantity. Now, the biggest evidence of its worldwide success is the World Championship that's hosted by Sunrise and Bandai itself, where every country can submit their kits for first, second, or third place, and there is first, second, and third place international winners. Now, these are some of the 2019 entries, since it was the most recent one. Yeah, mainland China, the Philippines, USA, Australia, South Korea, Hong Kong, Canada, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, and finally Taiwan. Now, if some of you notice the difference, the Western USA, Australia, even Canada cannot really compare it to what some of the Asian countries put out. In this case, Vietnam. Um, Asian countries have predominantly taken home the first place um, for international. Now, while it is a sad truth, they've been in the hobby for a lot longer, and they do have the shiniest new toys for it. Now, my final thoughts are this is really, like I said before, it's really taken a life of its own apart from a TV show. Between the massive tourist icon that is the life-size statue, between the new kits coming out every year, the fact that it's becoming easier and easier to buy these kits at better prices across the world, and even now, the new movie in the series coming out on the 7th, it was delayed to the 21st, sadly, but the new movie coming out, the hobby is bound to only get bigger from here. It's still, I feel it still has not reached its heyday yet. It really is a nice feeling to be part of a group sharing the same hobby. Um, really goes be it really has gone beyond the borders of Japan. Thank you very much.